Welcome to another Red Hunt video. Story 1. Am I the antagonist for blowing up on my family after they came 30 min late to my birthday dinner? I celebrated my 25th birthday yesterday, but it turned out to be quite disappointing. I hadn't made any specific plans for the actual day, as it fell on a Wednesday. However, I had intended to organize a party for my friends and family at my house on the coming Saturday. On my birthday, I went about my usual routine, including going to work. Yet, I desired something simple and special, so I had asked my family, my mom, dad, and brother, the previous night if they'd join me for a dinner at a nice restaurant I've been wanting to try. We settled on a time that worked for everyone, and I made a reservation for 7:30 p.m. My dad called to wish me a happy birthday, but also suggested that I go to my cousin's house as they were having a barbecue event. I politely declined, explaining that I really wanted to experience the restaurant and celebrate with my family, as it felt more meaningful to me. Attending a random party on my own birthday, where nobody was aware of it, seemed a bit odd. My dad understood and everything seemed fine. The restaurant was known for being strict about reservations, so I dressed up nicely and arrived on time. Then, my mom, who had not yet acknowledged my birthday, called me. She informed me that both she and my dad were still getting ready at home, and my brother was on his way to meet me. She suggested we order appetizers while waiting. Just 5 minutes later, my brother called to say he'd be running late, and that I should get the table by myself. At this point, I realized the restaurant might not seat me without the whole party present, and they might even give the table away if we were too late. Frustration took over, and I hung up on my brother. I parked nearby and couldn't hold back my tears. I was so overwhelmed that I rejected calls from both my brother and mother. At 8 p.m., which was 30 minutes after our reservation, my family showed up behind my parked car. I was taken aback because I had intentionally chosen a random building to park at. Unfortunately, I had forgotten that my brother could track my location through Find My Friends. They approached me, discussing their long day and suggesting we find a different restaurant together. I was visibly upset, with mascara smudged from crying, and I had no desire to be in public or around them. My dad insisted I didn't seem upset, and my mom urged me to calm down. They failed to grasp that this was more than just a momentary reaction, and I had to raise my voice to make them understand I needed to be left alone. Eventually, they left and went to my cousin's house. Feeling distressed, I decided to get Whataburger on my way back home, and ate it alone. My upset state prevented me from sleeping well that night. The following morning, I messaged a family group chat, expressing that they had spoiled my birthday, and I didn't want them at my Saturday party. Even now, I'm still filled with sadness. Am I in the wrong? Expressing your feelings in the family group chat was a way to communicate your emotions and let them know how their actions affected you. While it's challenging to assess the situation in its entirety from one perspective, it's clear that your feelings are valid. It might be helpful to have an open and honest conversation with your family to share how their actions impacted you, and to find a way to move forward together. In summary, it's important to prioritize open communication and understanding within your family. While it's natural for situations to have different perspectives, your feelings and desires for a meaningful birthday celebration are valid and deserving of consideration. You're definitely not the asshole in this situation. Their behavior was extremely rude and inconsiderate. You had a simple request to have a pleasant family dinner at a restaurant you were excited about, and they treated it as unimportant. Not only did they cause you to lose your reservation, but they also failed to show any remorse or apologize for ruining what was the main thing you wanted for your birthday. If I were in your shoes, I'd be incredibly hurt by their actions. I genuinely feel sorry that you had to experience this. You're not the asshole. It was incredibly disrespectful for them to dismiss your feelings in that manner. The truth is, they were more interested in attending the cousin's BBQ than celebrating your birthday dinner, which is why they attempted to persuade you to join them. Additionally, it's concerning that your 25-year-old brother, or any family member, has the ability to track your location on his phone. It appears they have an odd desire to monitor your movements, and it's crucial for you to address this and set boundaries. That they went to someone else's party rather than your birthday dinner. You're not the asshole. Story 2. Am I the antagonist for not continuing the punishment our ex set for our son at my house? The reason for the punishment was that our 8-year-old son pretended to be sick on the day of his dad's wedding in order to avoid attending. The wedding took place last weekend. When my ex-husband found out, he was quite angry. The truth came to light because he went home to check on our son in the afternoon and found him perfectly healthy. This was after our son had claimed in the morning that he felt very sick, and even went so far as to pretend he had thrown up at some point that morning. As a result, my ex and his new wife were upset, though they decided that if our son wasn't feeling well, it was best for him to stay home. The babysitter also informed my ex that our son appeared to be fine after everyone had left, and he had returned to his normal self. Our son admitted the truth to his dad when asked directly. In response, my ex grounded him for a month, explaining that missing something as significant as his dad's wedding and the day the family expanded was a serious matter, and there would be no fun activities during that time. During the custody exchange, my ex sent me a detailed email outlining what our son had done and the punishment he had imposed. He requested that I continue the grounding at my house, so that our son would be grounded for 4 consecutive weeks rather than spreading the punishment over 2 months. At home, I spoke to our son, and he opened up to me about his feelings. He revealed that he was really upset about his dad's wedding and the fact that the changes in their family structure were now permanent. He also expressed discomfort with his new stepmom and stepsisters. In response, I assured him that I would schedule an appointment with his therapist. The therapist was able to see him quickly, and they had a productive conversation. After considering the situation, I decided not to continue the grounding at my house. I informed my ex of my decision, which led to his anger as well as his wife's frustration. They contended that our son had disrespected them and his new sisters by avoiding the celebration that marked their union as a family. In response, I explained that our son, Callum, was struggling with the changes and difficulties arising from us no longer being together, as well as the fact that both of us now have new partners with other children. I pointed out that I had sought therapy for him to address these challenges. Furthermore, I mentioned that my ex has chosen not to bring our son to his place, which is his right. In the same vein, I asserted my right to adopt a different approach. My ex argued that our son had never shared these feelings with him, and that I should be supporting his punishment. I reminded him that our son did indeed express these feelings to him about 2 years ago, but his response at the time was negative. I stressed that my goal is for our son to feel comfortable sharing his thoughts with me, and I will always strive to help him without resorting to punishment. Both my ex and his wife assert that I am in the wrong and should continue the punishment. His wife mentioned that I shouldn't let our son dictate my choices, and she drew a parallel to how I wouldn't appreciate him skipping one of my events. I responded by explaining that I delayed progressing my own relationship to ensure our son's comfort. This was due to his difficulty in adjusting to their presence and behavior. We had a conversation, and I recognized that he needed support and time. While your ex and his wife may have a different viewpoint, your focus on open communication, understanding, and helping your son navigate these changes sets a positive tone for his emotional growth. It's a complex situation, and sometimes varying approaches can be necessary when dealing with a child's emotional struggles. Your priority is your son's well-being, and that should guide your decisions. Remember, parenting is not always straightforward, and different circumstances may require unique solutions. Ultimately, you're striving to provide the best possible support for your son during this transitional phase in his life. Keep communication lines open and work towards a solution that respects his emotions and helps him adjust. Not the asshole. Your ex doesn't care for his son's feelings. Not the asshole. I have rarely heard that these kinds of punishments actually work well in the long term. Not the asshole. The kid's 8 years old. I've pulled similar stunts to avoid going places. Not to mention the fact he has a valid reason for why.